This is Living Power with Dan Hurst.
And in verses 7 through 11 of John chapter 16, in verses 7 through 11, Jesus makes it very clear that this is a spiritual matter. So much so that it is one that the Holy Spirit is going to be addressing. Now remember, when Holy Spirit comes, where is He going to live? In the lives of the believers, the followers of God. Holy Spirit lives in you. And if Holy Spirit is going to be addressing this spiritual battle and these spiritual matters that are going on in the world, guess who's going to be in the middle of it? Person sitting in your chair. The same Holy Spirit, the Spirit of God that is living inside of us as God's people, is also at work in the world that is rejecting God and caught up in a spiritual battle. So we are going to be and are in the middle of that confrontation, that spiritual battle that's going on in the world today. We're in the middle of it because we contain Holy Spirit. John 16, verses 7 through 11 says it this way. I'm telling you, it's to your advantage that I go away. Jesus is saying, look, I know that when I die on the cross and I rise from the dead and I ascend into heaven, that is a condemnation on Satan. Satan at that point is condemned to eternal hell. And when that happens, all hell is going to break loose. There's going to be this spiritual battle until the time of the execution of judgment. That's going to happen. And so Jesus knows that. And so He's saying, it's to your advantage for me to go away and for the Holy Spirit to come and be and live in you. And when He comes, He's going to convict the world concerning sin, righteousness, and judgment. Now, what Jesus was saying was that, as I mentioned, His departure is necessary, though painful and difficult certainly for the disciples. But without His departing, there would have been no atonement for sin, which was so necessary for Jesus to save people from their sins. And it was necessary that He go away because that was when the Comforter, the Helper, Holy Spirit, would be granted to them. And why was the presence of the Holy Spirit more valuable to them and us, really, than to have Jesus Himself stay with them? I mean, what Jesus was saying was, this is more valuable to you, for me to go away and for Holy Spirit to come. Now think about this. Jesus said this. He said this to them and to us. It's more, wouldn't you love to have Jesus here with us? Wouldn't it be not kind of cool to have Him just walk into the room and speak to us and teach us? That would be awesome. But Jesus said it's more advantageous to you for me to leave and Holy Spirit to come. Why? Well, first of all, by His departure, His death, burial, and resurrection, by having those great facts before our eyes, knowing that Jesus died and rose again, and the disciples seeing that happen, seeing Jesus alive again after He rose from the dead, watching Him ascend, those facts would cause them to understand something more about when the Holy Spirit came. They would be led by the Holy Spirit to see more fully the design of Christ's coming than they would His presence. In other words, they would begin to understand, oh, this is part of a process. This isn't just this one-time event where, why did you leave us? Now you've left us alone. But rather an understanding, we're part of a process that's going on. This was something that God planned millions of years ago. And it's going on and it continues on right now. And so they would be led by the Holy Spirit to see more fully the design that was being introduced. Otherwise, we would, today, if we didn't have the Holy Spirit, we would just hold to and put our whole expectation and faith in this temporary life on earth. That's all we would know about. That's all we would believe. And the Holy Spirit, however, gives us greater insight to eternity and what is expected of us now. And so through the Holy Spirit, we begin to see that what Jesus did was introduce something incredibly powerful that happened during a short period of time. But the Holy Spirit then took over to continue the process and the program and the plan and the purpose. And you're part of that. You're part of all of that that's going on. So, by His departure, we would be led by the Holy Spirit to understand more of this design. Secondly, while on earth, Jesus could be bodily present in only one place at a time. Jesus could only be because he was in a body. He's physical. He could only be in one place at a time. Yet, in order to issue God's great plan of salvation to those who would respond to Him, it was necessary for Him to be in all places where He could attend to His followers, dispersing us throughout the earth and dispensing the wonderful truth of God's grace and love. Now, Jesus couldn't do that. Physically, He couldn't do that. He was limited to, because He was in human form, He was limited to one. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. He was limited to one person, and so He was confined to space, the certain limitations of space. But when He introduced the Holy Spirit, that limitation was gone. And so by introducing the Holy Spirit, there was this freedom to go anywhere throughout the world, especially where His believers are. And so thirdly, the Holy Spirit is an evident part of this plan of redemption that God established. The Holy Spirit was part of the purpose all along. It was part of the plan all along. Jesus said, I've come, I've done what I came to do. Now, I need to leave because now the third part of the plan is being introduced, which is the Holy Spirit, which has been part of the plan all along, and now it's really going to get good.
On behalf of Dan Hurst and the Open Class, we want to thank you for watching. We hope it was a blessing.